before you go any further, I need you to do something. Subscribe. Share this. Not for me, for you. Because what I'm about to tell you needs to reach people who still think they're safe. You're not. My name is Daniel Archer. I was a corporal in the United States Marine Corps, 2nd Reconnaissance Battalion. December 20th, 1989. Operation Just Cause. You know the story they told you. Noriega, the dictator, the drug lord, American lives at risk, clean invasion, surgical, heroic. That's the lie. I'm going to tell you what really happened in the jungle outside Cologne, in a place that does exist on any map. A place where we found something that should have stayed buried. Something that's still out there. It was 0400 hours when our Black Hawk dropped us into the canopy. 6 of us. Alpha team. The humidity hit, like a wet cloth, over your face the moment the side door opened. You couldn't breathe without tasting rot, vegetation, mud, something else underneath. Sour. Organic. Wrong. Our pilot didn't touch down. Hovered 3 feet above a clearing choked with vines, and kept the rotors hot. His voice crackled through my headset, tight and clipped. You've got 72 hours. If you're not at the extraction point, we leave without you. No explanation. No encouragement. Just fear. Staff Sergeant Malik was first out, rifle up, scanning the black tree line. Then Hoffman. Chun. Booker. Me. Last was Ramirez, our medic, who landed hard and immediately checked his med kit like he knew he'd need it. The Black Hawk pulled up fast, rotors screaming, and then we were alone. The jungle swallowed sound. No birds, no insects, just the distant thrum of artillery from the city and our own breathing inside our helmets. Malik activated his GPS unit, frowning at the glowing screen. Facility is 2 clicks northeast. Off-book op intelligence says it's a research station, abandoned since '87. Our job is to sweep it, catalog anything useful, and burn the rest. Research station? Booker was ex-Delta, older, skeptical. Out here, cartel-funded, Panamanian government front. Malik's jaw tightened. They were working on something biological. That's all we know. Chun, our demolitions expert, spat into the undergrowth. Why now? Why send us? Malik didn't answer. He just started walking. We moved in formation, night vision turning the jungle into a grainy green nightmare. The vegetation was wrong. Too thick, too tangled, like it had grown over itself in a feeding frenzy. Vines hung in curtains, some as thick as your arm, covered in a slick, pale fungus that pulsed faintly in the infrared. Hoffman pointed it out. That normal? Ramirez crouched, shining a red-filtered flashlight on one of the growths. It looked like coral made of flesh, ridged and wet. Fungal bloom. Aggressive strain. Haven't seen anything like it. Don't touch it, Malik said. We didn't. The facility appeared suddenly, swallowed by the jungle. Concrete walls bleeding rust and moss. Razor wire collapsed into the dirt. A chain-link gate hung open, the lock corroded through. Above the entrance, faded Spanish lettering. Estación de Investigación Biológica, Prohibito El Paso, Biological Research Station. No entry. Booker swept his rifle across the perimeter. No signs of recent activity. He was wrong. The air around the compound was different, thicker. It had a smell, sweet and rotten at the same time, like fruit left too long in the heat. My skin crawled. My chest felt tight. Malik signaled. We moved inside. The main building was a single-story bunker half buried in the hillside, concrete walls streaked black with mold. The windows were boarded, but some of the planks had been torn away from the inside. Deep gouges in the wood. Claw marks. Chin noticed them too. His voice dropped. What the hell did that? Stay sharp. We entered through the main door, blown off its hinges. Inside was darkness and the smell. God, the smell. It coated your throat, made your eyes water. Decay and ammonia, and something else. Something chemical, medicinal, like a hospital left to rot. The entrance hall was long and narrow, walls lined with rusted filing cabinets and shattered glass. Papers everywhere, soaked and illegible. At the far end, a steel staircase descended into the ground. Malik checked his map. Lower levels. That's where the labs are. Hoffman's voice was tight. We going down there? That's the mission. Ramirez moved one of the filing cabinets, pulling out a waterlogged folder. He held it up to his flashlight, squinting. It's in Spanish. Something about specimens, neural adaptation, host viability. What's that mean? I asked. He looked at me, and I saw the fear in his eyes. It means they were testing something on living subjects. Malik, cut in. We document. We extract data. We leave. No one goes off alone. Stay on comms. We descended. The stairwell was narrow, walls slick with condensation, and that same pale fungus. Thicker now, spreading in veins across the concrete. Our boots echoed. The temperature dropped. The air tasted metallic. At the bottom, a heavy steel door stood half open. Emergency lighting flickered beyond it, casting everything in sickly yellow pulses. Booker pushed the door wider with his rifle barrel. The corridor beyond was long, lined with reinforced glass cells. Most were dark, but in some, under the stuttering lights, I saw movement, shapes, hunched, twitching, breathing. Malik stepped forward, his flashlight cutting through the gloom. He aimed it into the first cell, and then he stopped. Oh, God! I moved beside him and looked inside. It had been human once. You could still see that. The shape of a man, naked, emaciated, skin stretched tight over bone. But the skin wasn't right. It was mottled gray-green, covered in patches of that same fungus, growing from the flesh like barnacles. The eyes were open, milky white, staring, and then it moved. Its head snapped toward us, too, fast, joints cracking. The mouth opened impossibly wide, and it made a sound. A click, sharp, wet, rhythmic, click, click, click. From deeper in the corridor, a dozen more answered. Part 2. The infected 1,000 words. Back up, now. Malik's voice was steady, but his rifle wasn't. The barrel shook as he aimed at the glass. The thing in the cell pressed itself against the window. Its hands, if you could still call them that, were fused with the fungal growths. Fingers curled into claws, nails black and split. Its chest rose and fell in rapid, shallow breaths. The clicking came from its throat, deep and organic, like bones rattling inside a drum. Click, click, click. And then the others joined in, all down the corridor, cells lit up with movement, shapes lunging at the glass, hands slapping against the reinforced panes, faces twisted, jaws hanging open, eyes empty but aware. Hoffman backed into me. They're alive. No, Ramirez whispered. He was staring at one of the creatures closest to us, his face drained of color. They're not anymore. Look at the growth patterns. The fungus is through the skin, into the muscle tissue. It's in the brain. English document. They're being piloted. Chun swore. You're saying that thing is controlling them? I'm saying they're not in control anymore. The creature at the first cell tilted its head, pupils contracting as if focusing. Then it stepped back from the glass, turned, and walked to the rear of the cell. It stood there, waiting. Why'd it stop? I asked. Malik didn't answer. He was scanning the corridor, counting cells, 12 on each side, some still dark, but most occupied. Then Booker noticed something. Malik, end of the hall. We all looked. At the far end, past the rows of cells, was another steel door. This one was wide open. Emergency lights flickered inside, illuminating something on the floor. Bodies. Recent ones. Stay in formation, Malik ordered. We moved together. We advanced slowly, boots crunching on broken glass and scattered papers. The creatures tracked us with their heads, synchronized, silent now. No more clicking, just breathing. Wet, labored. Chin moved his rifle from cell to cell. Why aren't they attacking? Because they're not stupid, Booker muttered. The smell got worse as we approached the open door. Copper and rot and that sweet chemical stench. I felt my stomach twist. Inside the room were 4 bodies. Panamanian soldiers, judging by the uniforms. Torn apart. Not shot, not stabbed. Ripped, limbs twisted at wrong angles. Chest split open, organs missing. The walls were streaked with blood and something else. thick, yellowish mucus mixed with clumps of fungal matter. Ramirez knelt beside one of the corpses, careful not to touch it. Dead, maybe 48 hours. Trauma is consistent with large animal attack, but the bite patterns. He leaned closer, shining his light into the ruined chest cavity. These teeth marks aren't animal. They're human. Those things did this? Hoffman asked. Something did. Malik moved past the bodies to a workstation against the far wall. Monitors, old CRT units, still running on backup power. He tapped a keyboard. The screen flickered to life, showing a login prompt in Spanish. Chin shouldered his rifle and stepped forward. Let me? He worked fast, bypassing the login with a USB device from his kit. The screen blinked, then filled with files. Video logs, reports, schematics. Got something, Chin said. He clicked on a video file, labeled Pareba 17D9. The screen showed a lab. White tiles, steel table, a man strapped down, thrashing. 2 figures in hazmat suits stood over him, holding syringes. The audio was muffled, distorted, but you could hear screaming. One of the figures injected something into the man's neck. He convulsed. Foam poured from his mouth. Then he went still. For 10 seconds. Nothing. Then his eyes snapped open. Milky white. He sat up, snapping the restraints like paper. The 2 figures in hazmat suits stumbled back, shouting. The man lunged. The video cut out. Chin opened another file. This one was a report written in clinical Spanish. Ramirez translated as he read over Chen's shoulder. Project Cordyceps. Objective: weaponized neuroparasite. Fungal strain derived from Ophiocordyceps unilateralis. Modified from mammalian hosts. Stage 1 infection. Respiratory introduction via spore inhalation. Stage 2. Mycelial infiltration of the central nervous system. Stage 3. Complete motor control override. Host consciousness remains intact. Psychological degradation accelerates. He stopped. His voice cracked. They stay awake. The whole time. They feel everything. No one spoke. Then the lights went out. Emergency power died. Total darkness. For 3 seconds, there was nothing but our breathing and the hum of dying electronics. Then the backup generator kicked in. Red lights, flashing, and in that stuttering crimson glow, I saw the cells. They were open, every single one. The creatures stood in the corridor, silent, still, 24 of them, arranged in a perfect line, staring at us. Malik raised his rifle. Contact front. They moved as one, not running, walking, slow, deliberate, shoulders hunched, heads tilted, mouths hanging open, and then the clicking started again. Click, click, click. It came from all of them at once, layered, syncopated, like a language. They were communicating. Light them up. Malik screamed. We opened fire. The muzzle flashes lit up the corridor in strobing bursts. I saw bodies jerk, stumble, fall. Chest shots, head shots, center mass. They dropped, but they didn't stop. One of them took 3 rounds to the torso and kept coming. Its chest was a crater of torn flesh and fungal matter, but its legs worked fine. It lunged at Hoffman. He fired point blank into its face. The skull exploded. It collapsed, but 2 more replaced it. Fall back. Malik shouted. Fall back to the stairs. We ran. Behind us, the clicking grew louder, faster, more frantic. I risked a glance over my shoulder and saw them pouring out of the cells, scrambling over each other, moving with insect-like coordination. Chun threw a flashbang. The corridor erupted in white light and thunder. We hit the stairwell. Booker went first. Firing control bursts. I was right behind him. Ramirez stumbled, and I grabbed his vest, hauling him up. Go, go, go. We reached the top. Malik was last. He turned, pulling a grenade from his belt, yanking the pin. He threw it down the stairs. 3 seconds. We dove through the doorway into the entrance hall. The explosion ripped through the stairwell, collapsing the ceiling. Concrete and rebar crashed down, sealing the passage. Silence. We lay there, gasping, covered in dust. Then from below, muffled but clear, click, click, click. They were still coming. Part 3. The Hunt 1,000 Words. Move. Now. Malik was on his feet, pulling Hoffman up by his harness. Blood ran from a gash on his forehead, mixing with sweat and dust. His eyes were wild. We staggered out of the building into the jungle. The dawn was just breaking, pale gray light filtering through the canopy. The air was thick with moisture and that smell, stronger now, clinging to our uniforms, our skin. Booker doubled over, hands on his knees, sucking air. What the hell were those things? Doesn't matter. Malik checked his GPS. Then his watch. Extraction point is 8 clicks south. We move fast. We can make it by nightfall. We're not calling for evac. Chen's voice was hoarse. No signal. We're in a dead zone. Malik's jaw tightened. We move on foot. Ramirez was bent over, hands shaking as he checked his med kit. We need to talk about exposure. Those spores, if we breathe them in, we deal with that when we're out. Malik cut him off. Right now, we move. But Hoffman wasn't moving. He was staring back at the facility. Listen. We all stopped. From inside the building, beneath the rubble, we heard it. Scraping. Rhythmic. Metal on stone. They were digging. Jesus Christ, Chen whispered. They can't get through that, Booker said, but his voice lacked conviction. Malik grabbed his shoulder. We don't wait to find out. Move. We entered the jungle at a run, cutting through dense undergrowth, vines whipping at our faces. The canopy overhead blocked most of the light, turned the world into a green twilight. My lungs burned. My legs felt like lead. Behind us, distantly, a sound rose above the jungle noise. A howl, not human, not animal, something in between. And then another answered it, and another. They're out. Ramirez gasped. How many? I asked. All of them. Malik led us east, away from the facility, toward higher ground. We moved in silence, conserving breath, listening. The jungle was waking up around us. Parrots screeching, monkeys howling. Normal sounds. But underneath, there was something else. Movement, parallel to us. Pacing. Booker heard it too. He raised his fist, signaling a halt. We froze, crouched in the undergrowth. 30 meters to our left, the foliage shivered. Something moved through it, low to the ground, fast. I caught a glimpse, pale skin, hunched shoulders, that same clicking sound. It wasn't chasing us. It was flanking. Malik signaled with hand gestures. They're hurting us. Hoffman's eyes went wide. They're hunting. Spread out, Malik whispered. 5-meter intervals. Stay visual. Anything moves, you light it up. We formed a loose line, weapons raised, moving slowly. The jungle pressed in on all sides. Every shadow looked like a body. Every sound was a threat. Then Chen's voice crackled over the radio. Contact left. I turned just in time to see it. One of the infected burst from the tree line, sprinting on all fours like a dog. Its spine was arched unnaturally, ribs protruding through torn skin, fungal growth spreading across its back like wings. Chen fired. The rounds punched through its shoulder, spinning it sideways. It screamed, a wet, gurgling sound, and kept coming. Hoffman fired. Booker fired. The thing's leg shattered, and it collapsed, twitching, clicking frantically. But more came. 3, 5, a dozen, pouring out of the jungle from every direction. Defensive circle. Malik roared. We formed up, backs together, firing outward. The creatures came in waves, scrambling over fallen logs, dropping from branches, moving with unnatural speed and coordination. I fired until my magazine ran dry, then reloaded, hands shaking. One of them got within 10 feet before Ramirez dropped it with a headshot. It fell, convulsing, fungal matter spraying from the wound like pus. They're learning, Booker shouted. They're adapting. He was right. The first wave had charged blindly. The second move was strategy, darting between trees, using cover, drawing our fire. Grenades! Malik yelled. Chen pulled one, threw it. The explosion tore through a cluster of them. body parts spinning into the air. For a moment, the attack faltered. Then the clicking stopped. All of them, simultaneously. They pulled back into the jungle, disappearing into the shadows. Silence. We stood there, breathing hard, scanning the tree line. Why'd they stop? Hoffman whispered. Ramirez was staring at something on the ground. One of the bodies. It was still twitching. The fungal growths were moving, pulsing, releasing spores into the air. Tiny particles, glowing faintly in the dim light. Oh no! Ramirez's voice broke. They're spreading. What? The spores. Every time they die, they release spores. We've been breathing them this whole time. Malik grabbed him. How long do we have? I don't know. Hours. Maybe less. Then we moved faster. We ran. The jungle became a blur of green and shadow. My chest felt tight, lungs burning. I couldn't tell if it was exhaustion or something else. Something growing inside me. Ahead, Malik stopped suddenly. He held up a fist. We were at the edge of a ravine, 50 feet deep, fast-moving water at the bottom. On the other side, dense jungle continued. We cross here, Malik said, pointing to a fallen tree spanning the gap. Booker looked at him like he was insane. That thing's rotted through. We don't have a choice. Behind us, in the jungle, the clicking resumed. Closer now. Malik went first, moving quickly across the log, arms outstretched for balance. He made it to the other side, turned, signaled us forward. Chun went next, then Hoffman, then me. I stepped onto the log. It sagged under my weight, creaking. The bark was slick with moss. I moved carefully, one foot in front of the other, eyes locked on Malik. Halfway across, I heard Ramirez scream. I turned. He was still on the other side, and they were on him, 3 of them, dragging him backward into the jungle. He fired wildly, screaming my name. Ramirez! Booker was right behind me. He raised his rifle, but they were moving too fast, pulling Ramirez into the undergrowth. The last thing I saw was his hand, reaching out. Then the jungle swallowed him. His screams lasted 7 seconds. Then they stopped. Part 4. The transformation 1,000 words. We can't help him. Malik's voice was flat. Dead. We have to go back. I was screaming, trying to push past Booker. He's still alive. He's gone. Booker grabbed my vest, held me back. Danny, listen to me. He's gone. From the jungle, Ramirez's radio crackled to life. His voice came through broken, wet, wrong. Danny, help please. Then the clicking started, coming from his radio. They had him. Malik reached down and switched off his receiver. We keep moving. That's our medic. Hoffman's voice cracked. He's the only one who knows. I said we move. We ran, down the ravine, into the water. It was shallow but fast, pulling at our legs. The cold shocked my system, clearing my head. We crossed and climbed the far bank, hauling ourselves up using roots and vines. The jungle on this side was different, darker. The trees were taller, older, their trunks wrapped in thick layers of that pale fungus. It grew in sheets, dripping from branches like melted wax. The ground was soft, spongy, carpeted in decaying vegetation, and spore clusters that burst under our boots. Chin stopped to catch his breath, leaning against a tree. His hand sank into the fungal growth. He jerked back, staring at his glove. The material was dissolving, eaten away by some acidic secretion. Don't touch anything, Malik said. What is this place? Hoffman asked. Feeding ground, Booker muttered. They've been here a while. He was right. The deeper we went, the more evidence we found. Bones, picked clean, animal mostly, but some human, scattered among the roots, half buried in moss. And nests, hollowed out sections of trees, lined with that same fungal matter, shaped into crude shelters. We were in their territory. Malik checked his GPS 3 more clicks. Then we're at the extraction point. Will they even come? Chin asked. No one answered. We moved in silence, every step deliberate, every shadow a potential threat. The clicking had stopped, but that was worse. It meant they were hunting quietly now, Stalking. I felt it before I saw it. A change in air pressure. A presence. I spun, rifle up. Nothing. Just trees and shadow. But then I saw it. Movement. 30 feet up in the canopy. One of them, crouched on a branch, perfectly still. Watching. Contact high. I whispered. Malik looked up. Don't engage. Keep moving. We walked. It followed, leaping silently from branch to branch, tracking us. Then another appeared, and another. Soon there were half a dozen, moving through the canopy like spiders. They're surrounding us, Booker said. I know. Hoffman's breathing was getting faster. Panicked. We're not going to make it. Shut up and move. Then Chin stopped. He was staring down at his hand, the one that had touched the fungus. The skin was red, blistered, and beneath the surface, something was moving. Thin, dark lines, spreading up his forearm like veins. Malik. His voice was shaking. I'm infected. Malik grabbed his arm, pulled back the sleeve. The mycelial threads were visible beneath the skin, branching, growing, reaching toward his shoulder. How long? Chin asked. I don't know. Ramirez said hours. Ramirez is dead. Chin pulled his arm back, rolled down his sleeve. Then we need to move faster. We broke into a jog. The creatures in the canopy kept pace. I could hear them now, moving through the leaves, clicking softly to each other, coordinating. Then Hoffman tripped. He went down hard, face first into the soft ground. He pushed himself up, spitting dirt, and then froze. He was staring at something in the ground. A hole, narrow, deep, ring with fungal growth. And from inside, a sound, breathing. Get away from that, Malik hissed. But it was too late. The ground beneath Hoffman erupted. A hand shot out, gray and clawed, grabbing his ankle. He screamed. Another hand emerged. Then a head. It pulled itself out of the ground, impossibly thin, ribs showing through translucent skin. Its eyes were gone, the sockets filled with fungal matter. But it moved with purpose, dragging itself toward Hoffman. Booker fired. The rounds tore through its skull, and it collapsed. But the ground around us was shifting. Dozens of holes. Dozens of hands. They're underground. Chin shouted. They came up everywhere, bursting from the earth like corpses rising from graves, covered in dirt and fungus, moving with jerky, insect-like motions. Run. We scattered. I lost sight of the others in the chaos. I just ran blindly, crashing through undergrowth, branches whipping my face. Something grabbed my pack. I spun, fired, saw it fall. I kept running. Then I broke through the tree line and stopped. I was standing at the edge of a clearing. In the center, a massive growth, a structure made entirely of fungus and flesh, pulsing organic, towering 30 feet high. It looked like a hive, and around it, dozens of them, hundreds, some standing, some crouched, some half-formed, still growing out of ground. They all turned to look at me. I raised my rifle, finger on the trigger. Then Malik's voice crackled through my radio. Danny, fall back. Fall back to. His voice cut off. Static, then clicking. Malik, no response. I backed away slowly, then turned and ran. I found Hoffman first, or what was left of him. His body was propped against a tree, chest torn open, eyes staring. His rifle was gone. His radio was still on, and from it I heard Booker's voice. Danny, if you're hearing this, don't stop. Don't look back. They're in my head. I can feel them. I can hear them. Oh, God! I can hear all of them. They're not just hunting us. They're making us part of... The transmission ended in a wet crunch. I was alone. Part 5. The Escape 1,000 Words. I don't remember the next hour. Clearly, it comes back in flashes. Running, falling, crawling. My lungs were on fire, every breath thick and sweet with spores. I could feel them now, inside me, spreading like frost across glass. The extraction point was a clearing 200 meters ahead. I could see the LZ markers, infrared strobes blinking in the dawn light. No helicopter yet, but I could hear it. Distant rotors. Getting closer. I staggered into the clearing, collapsing to my knees. My radio was dead. My rifle was out of ammo. I had nothing left. And then I heard it behind me. Click, click, click. I turned. Chin stepped out of the jungle. But it wasn't Chin anymore. His skin was pale, mottled with gray-green patches. His eyes were milky, pupils blown wide. The fungal growths had spread across half his face, erupting from his cheek and neck like tumors. His mouth hung open, and when he breathed, spores puffed out in little clouds. He was still wearing his uniform, still carrying his rifle, and he was smiling. Danny! His voice was his own, but layered with something else, something chittering underneath. I can see them, all of them. We're all connected now. It's beautiful. Chun, stay back. He took a step forward. It doesn't hurt. Not anymore. It's like waking up. You'll see. Stop. They want you to join us. They're calling you. Can't you hear them? I could. In the back of my mind, beneath my own thoughts, there was a sound, a rhythm. Click, click, click. It felt like fingers tapping on the inside of my skull. Fight it, I said. To him. To myself. Chun tilted his head. Why? We're stronger now. We're part of something bigger. We don't die. We just change. He raised his rifle. Not quickly, not aggressively. Just slowly, mechanically, until it was aimed at my chest. I'm sorry, he said, and I think he meant it. The gunshot echoed across the clearing, but Chin didn't fire. I did. I grabbed Hoffman's sidearm for his body. I hadn't even realized I was holding it. The bullet caught Chin in the throat, spinning him sideways. He dropped to his knees, clutching the wound. Blood and spores poured out between his fingers. He looked at me, and for a moment, just a moment, his eyes cleared. Thank you, he whispered. Then he collapsed. The clicking stopped. The jungle went silent. I turned toward the sound of the helicopter. It was directly overhead now, a Black Hawk descending fast, rotors kicking up dirt and debris. The side door was open. A man in a hazmat suit leaned out, waving me forward. I ran. The skids touched down. Two more figures in hazmat suits jumped out, rifles raised, scanning the tree line. One of them grabbed me, shouting something I couldn't hear over the noise. They dragged me toward the helicopter. Then the jungle exploded. They came from every direction. Dozens of them. Sprinting, crawling, leaping. The two soldiers opened fire, cutting down the first wave, but more kept coming. Go, 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 someone screamed. I was hauled into the helicopter. The door gunner opened up with a mounted M240, brass casings raining down around me. The creatures swarmed the clearing, climbing over each other, reaching for the helicopter. The Black Hawk lifted off. One of them leaped, grabbing the skid. The door gunner swung his weapon around and fired point blank, blowing it off. It fell, tumbling, and was swallowed by the mass below. We climbed fast, banking hard. I looked down at the clearing. They were all standing there, hundreds of them, staring up at us, and they were all clicking in unison. Then the jungle lit up. Fire. Everywhere. Napalm canisters dropped from two F-16s, screaming past overhead. The clearing, the trees, the facility. Everything erupted in walls of flame. The heat hit us even at altitude. I watched it burn. The man in the hazmat suit pulled me away from the door. He pressed a syringe into my neck. I tried to fight, but I had nothing left. You're contaminated, he said, his voice muffled through the mask. We're taking you to a clean site. What was that? I managed to ask. He didn't answer. What were they? He looked at me through the visor. His eyes were cold. You were never here. This mission never happened. Then the drugs hit, and I went under. Part 6. The warning, 1,500 words. I woke up 3 days later in a medical facility somewhere in Virginia. White walls. No windows. Armed guards outside my door. They ran tests. Blood work. Biopsies. Scans. They cut samples from my lungs, my skin, my brain tissue. They didn't tell me what they found, but I saw the way they looked at me, like I was already dead. On the 5th day, a man in a suit came to see me. No name, no badge, just a briefcase and a folder stamped with classifications I'd never seen before. He sat down across from me and opened the folder. "Do you know what you found?" he asked. "You tell me." He pulled out a photograph. The facility, before it was bombed, Project Cordyceps, a joint operation between Panamanian military intelligence and Medellin cartel scientists, funded through drug money, sanctioned by Noriega. The objective was simple: create a biological weapon that could turn enemy soldiers into controllable assets. "It worked," I said. "Too well." He pulled out another photograph. This one showed a lab, bodies on gurneys, scientists in hazmat suits. Initial trials were promising. The fungus could hijack the host motor functions while keeping higher brain activity intact. But they underestimated its adaptability. It evolved fast. The subject began coordinating, communicating. By the time the facility was abandoned, the infected had formed a hive structure. They weren't just mindless drones anymore. They were thinking. "Why didn't you destroy it sooner?" "We didn't know it existed. Not until 3 weeks ago, when satellite imagery detected thermal anomalies consistent with large-scale biological activity. By then, it was too late to contain quietly. So you sent us in." "We sent you in to confirm, and to give us a reason to burn it." I stared at him. "We were bait." He didn't deny it. "My team is dead." I said. "Your team was necessary." I lunged across the table. The guards grabbed me, slammed me back into the chair. The man didn't flinch. "You're angry. I understand. But you need to understand something." He leaned forward. "What you found in Panama was not an isolated incident. Similar research programs have been documented in the Soviet Union, North Korea, and Sub-Saharan Africa. We have credible intelligence suggesting at least 4 other sites are still operational." "Then shut them down." "It's not that simple. These programs are off-book, funded by cartels, warlords, rogue states. They exist in places where we have no jurisdiction, no oversight. And the organisms they're working with," he paused, "they're not staying contained." He pulled out one final photograph. This one was recent. A village, somewhere tropical, bodies in the street, soldiers in hazmat suits. And in the background, barely visible, pale figures moving through the smoke. "Where's that?" I asked. "Uganda. 2 weeks ago. The outbreak was contained, but it cost us 300 lives, military and civilian." He closed the folder. "You're being discharged, honorably, full benefits, a pension, will relocate you, new identity. You'll never speak of what happened in Panama, not to anyone, ever. And if I do, you won't." He stood, straightened his tie. "You're a survivor, Corporal Archer. That makes you valuable. But it also makes you a liability. We'll be watching." He left. I was released 2 weeks later. New name, new life. They moved me to a town in Montana, middle of nowhere, gave me a house and stipend, and told me to disappear. I tried. For 6 years, I tried to forget. But you can't forget something that's still inside you. At night, when it's quiet, I hear it. The clicking. Faint, distant, like it's coming from deep underground. And sometimes when I close my eyes, I see them, hundreds of them, staring. The doctors told me the infection was dormant, that my immune system fought it off. But I don't believe them. I think it's just waiting. And here's what keeps me awake. 3 months ago, I saw something on the news. A mining accident in West Virginia. 70 workers trapped underground. When the rescue teams went in, they found the miners alive, but wrong. The reports called it gas leak, hallucinations, toxic exposure. But I saw the footage before they scrubbed it. I saw the miners' eyes, milky white. Last month, there were reports of a viral outbreak in a refugee camp in Turkey. Quarantine within hours. Media blackout. Official cause, contaminated water supply. But I found a video, leaked, deleted within minutes. I saw the bodies. I saw the growths. 2 weeks ago, I got a message. No return address. Just a photograph. It was my old facility, or what's left of it. The jungle had reclaimed it, but in the center, something was growing. A structure, organic, massive, and standing around it, barely visible through the trees, were figures, hundreds of them. They're still there, and they're spreading. I'm telling you this because you need to know, because the people in charge won't tell you. They'll cover it up, classify it, bury it, just like they buried my team. But it's not buried. It's growing. In the jungles, in the mountains, in the dark places underground where no one looks. And one day, maybe tomorrow, maybe 10 years from now, you're going to see it on the news, in your city, in your neighborhood. You'll see people acting strange, moving wrong, eyes white, skin pale, and you'll hear it. That sound, click, click, click. When that happens, you need to run. Don't try to help them. Don't try to fight. Just run. Get as far away as you can, because by the time you see them, it's already too late. They're not people anymore. They're something else. And they're coming. I don't know how much time we have. Maybe none. Maybe they're already here, spreading quietly, waiting for the right moment to emerge. But I know this. The thing we found in Panama wasn't the start. It wasn't even the worst. It was just the first time we noticed. So I'm telling you now, while I still can, while my mind is still my own, subscribe, share this, spread the word. Not because it will save you, it won't, but because when they come, I want people to know the truth. I want them to know we were warned, and I want them to know what's waiting for them in the dark. My name is Daniel Archer. I was a Marine. I survived Operation Just Cause, but what I brought back with me will outlive us all. Don't trust the silence. Don't trust the officials. And whatever you do, don't go into the jungle, because it's not empty anymore. It's full, and it's hungry.